a playlist original.
Hey, what's up? It's your host, Tori, and who is ready to be petty? Welcome back to another episode of RTPP. I am so glad you're here. Today is a super fun show. I actually haven't re-listened yet to the episode while I'm recording this intro. As many of you will know, I had like a severe allergic reaction this week, and my lip was very swollen. It was definitely giving Kourtney Kardashian post, dental work, or Farrah Abrams post like botched lip filler. And I had to reschedule our trivia night. So it's going to be same time, same place, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 20th. And I think a lot of people are coming. I'm very excited, a little nervy to host, but it's going to be super fun. I have like 50 questions. We're going to do teams, maybe some one-on-one action at the end. We're going to make sure that there's some like mix and mingle so y'all can meet each other, make some new friends, all that stuff. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. If you are nervous to participate, I know Zoom things can be awkward, or just meeting new people can be awkward, but don't worry, we'll make it super fun. You can participate, on your own terms. Like I said, it'll be mostly team stuff. So if you don't know any of the answers or whatever, there'll be lots of people that can help your team out. So what's happening on Patreon this week, you ask? I spoke with Jenna from Date Card Pod, You Fancy a Fine podcast, and the Roses for Everybody campaign about Twilight, which truly was, I feel like, 4 years in the making. I talk about this on the podcast, just how much Twilight meant to me when I was a teen, how much it impacted my life, how I made it my personality for like fucking 15 years. I always laugh with my sister, but I was like, I should have been like cast as Bella because I look like a very, generic brown-haired white girl. So I was like, that should have been me. But it was super fun. I finally really got to talk about it for quite a little bit. We talked about its cultural impact. We talked about some themes, like some problematic themes in the movies and books. And then we talked about why it's having a little bit of a renaissance. And again, just what it meant to us, and some fun stories about, our Twilight fandom, our Twi-card. And then next week, I have Kenzie Cates, my friend, but also a very talented singer-songwriter, joining me to talk about celebrity feuds and songs. We did Taylor Swift feuds and songs a few months ago, but we are doing like Ellie Goulding and Ed Sheeran, Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake, Olivia Rodrigo, Joshua Bassett and Sabrina Carpenter, and many more. We're talking about people who have written songs about someone and then the other party has responded. So I'm very, very excited. Kenzie also has 2 Christmas songs out on Spotify. One is a remake of Mistletoe by Justin Bieber that really healed something in my heart. Mistletoe is a fucking banger, and I don't care what anyone says. And then she also does I'll Have a Blue Christmas, and it's so good. I listen to it all the time. It's the perfect like melancholy Christmas song that you probably need in your life. And then the week after that, I have Vanessa from Best Week Ever on the Patreon. We're going to talk about Jack Antonoff and Lord's alleged relationship when she was creating melodrama with him and he was still dating Lena Dunham. So I'm very, very excited to dive into that. And then we're also doing a book club over on the Patreon. I was sent a advanced reader's copy this summer, but I, just got to it now. Lo siento. I got an advanced reader's edition of Lord of the Fly Fest, which is a Lord of the Flies reimagined to like correspond with fucking Fire Fest. So it's about a bunch of influencers that go to like a Fire Fest situation, but it has some Lord of the Flies, like motifs in it and parallels, and I am so excited. I think the main character is also a podcaster, so it's going to be so much fun. We are going to be doing a little book club in the new year, so you can read it over the holidays, And then I'm going to interview the author, Goldie Moldavsky, in mid-January. So I'm very, very excited for that. If you want to listen to any of these episodes or join our book club, you can head over to patreon.com/RTBP podcast and see what we've got going on there. $5 gets you the book club, the Discord channel, the episodes, and then for $10 you also get a personalized card from me and a monthly hangout where we hang out and talk shit. That's happening next week, and I'm VVV excited. Anyways, I want to shout out 2 patrons before we get to today's episode. Jess, aka JLB, and Jacqueline. I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of the RTBP community. Patreon and this podcast could not, function without people like you. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And I know you two are maybe some of my quieter patrons, but maybe this is I also appreciate lurkers. That's great. No tea, no shade. But I always also love the discussion and the discourse. So maybe this is your very informal invite to, fucking talk some shit with us. Okay. Thank you so much, Jess and Jacqueline, for being patrons from literally week 1. So I appreciate you so much. Mwah. Okay. Last housekeeping item before we get to today's show. Meghan and Harry part 2. We talk about Meghan and Harry part 1 in today's episode, but I'm going to do a deep dive with my friends Ida and Zachary. And we're also going to talk about, I think, just the larger picture of the royal family and Meghan and Harry post this documentary and maybe a little bit of spare in January. So that's just when we could schedule it. So you'll hear all of our thoughts about part 2 sometime in the new year. Okay, friends. Thank you again so much for being here. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Becky. I'm back with a very special guest, Becky from Too Stupid to Live. Cheap Reviews of Cheap Romance Novels is here. Becky, how are you?
I am good. I'm so excited to be here. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to chat because a few months ago we covered we did a cheap review of a cheap romance novel over on your show.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell the listeners a little bit about your show. So obviously the gist is that you're kind of recapping and reviewing romance novels under $5.
Yeah.
But how did you think of the concept and kind of what drew you to talking about romance novels?
Yeah, so I live out in Los Angeles. I'm trying to be a writer, performer. And so, sometimes you have, periods of time where you're not making that much money and you got to be cheap. And so that's how I was devouring my romance novels. This was before Kindle Unlimited as well. And so I was constantly just buying romance novels that were free or 99 cents. And I always knew I wanted a podcast, and I always wanted to talk about romance novels with someone because I felt like I was the only one who ever read them. But then I, got a microphone and started just recording the podcast in my closet where it was just me. And then I was oh, well, people have guests on the show. Let me get a second microphone. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it all started. I am just cheap, and I just like to talk and be the center of attention. That's the secret.
I'm obsessed because I really started before I ended up I have the Kobo Plus. But before I started doing that, I would just read the free books because they're fun, your podcast shows, they're fun reads. And also, if you follow a lot of romance novelists newsletters, they will post when their books are going on a week of being 99 cents or free.
Absolutely. And also they'll post when their friends are even if they meet someone who might be my friend has her first book out, and it's it's free if you whatever. And it's great. And there's free anthologies all the time. You just got to look. It's going to Ross, and you're going through the racks. It's okay, you got to join the newsletters, which I know getting spam emails is annoying, but you got to do that. You just, gotta be on Amazon for an endless amount of time, or do Kindle Unlimited if you were smart. But my show's called Too Stupid to Live. And
But it's kind of fun, the hunt. I recently joined a website where you can review books, and so you read their it is their final draft, and you just like post a review. I'm like, I can do that if I'm reading a book for free.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like every so often. And I discovered my favorite authors through free books. I was just like, oh, it's a free book. Like, and I'm just reading. It's what I do. And then like, I'll be like 2/3 of the way through and I'll be like, this is the best book I ever read. And then that's how like my favorite authors like came to be, was just because like I got a free book in it was great.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Yeah, I get that. That was like, I did that for months before I like finally paid for like the subscription. So I get that.
Yeah.
Anything good you're reading lately?
Right now I'm reading this for my I read ridiculous. I love monster romances, and that's kind of like what I've been into lately.
Yeah.
So right now, this is going to be featured on an upcoming episode of my show, but it's called Meteors and Menorahs, and it's a Hanukkah romance. Hanukkah romance with an alien. I'm loving it. It's just what a hoot. It's such a hoot, to say the very least.
That's so funny. Oh my God, that's so funny. Like, who comes up with that?
I know, and it's like, of course, and it's like, it's so clever, but at the same time it's so smart. Like, I could talk about this for hours, but like, I'm like, I really feel like monster romance is like dismantling the patriarchy. It's making us reflect on ourselves. Who are the real monsters? We are, like, it's very
That's so funny. I know. I do. I feel like whenever I'm mad at men, I grab a paranormal monster romance.
Yeah, because they're always like, the monsters are like, oh, what do you mean they do not listen?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're like confused, and it's like, you sweet little monster.
Yeah, like, but I'm supposed to be your servant, and you're like, yeah.
These men say that they rule the world and they make all the choices. No. And I'm like, I love these books.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. Oh my God. Okay, so let's get into it. We've got a juicy episode. We're going to talk about the Harry and Meghan, at least part 1 of the docu-series. We're going to talk about Katie Holmes. I feel like she's making her debut on this podcast. And then
congrats, Katie.
And then the trailer for The Price of Glee. And then Becky's going to nominate her Pettyweight Champion of the Week and share her This Week in Petty story. So Harry and Meghan released their doc. So, okay, this is so wild because I feel like that we just got the trailer last week. And I totally thought this docu was going to come out in like December. And then everyone's like, it's here, the Harry and Meghan doc. I was like, oh no, I just digested the trailer.
Yes. Yeah. And, because a lot of these things of like, there'll be a teaser and then there'll be a trailer, and it'll literally be 6 months before the movie or the TV show is released. And so it's like, you can't even get excited anymore because it's like, oh, I'm going to watch something and it's going to make me excited. And then they're going to say it comes out in 2025 or whatever. But then when they were like, next week, I'm like, holy shit. And in 3 episodes, like, it was what an early Christmas miracle.
Literally. So are you a big royal like watcher or like fan of Harry and Meghan or other members of the royal family?
Here's the thing, like, and I will start the thesis being I'm a hypocrite. Because
this podcast is always like about being a hypocrite.
That's what I know. And I figured I'd be in good hands. I mean, in a good zone. But like politically and morally, do I believe that the monarchy should be dismantled? Yes. I'm like, I'm all about like, because I live in the United States. So, I have no perspective. This is just an outsider's. Remember, I host a podcast called Two Stupids Live. But I'm like, how come like Buckingham Palace isn't turned into affordable housing? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of I guess I'm like a communist. I have no idea. But at the same time, I do love The Crown, and I like do love like watching like documentaries on Diana and like kind of some of the scandals. And I am very much into Harry and Meghan because like they're almost like, wait a minute, these two are part of the system, and they're saying things that like I have thought, not to the extent of like where they're like, oh, let's burn down Buckingham, like obviously not that, but like they're like, oh, there's like systemic racism in this, and it's like, well, we've always known that, and now the people inside have known it. Like, tell me more. Like, I'm so intrigued. So yeah, it's a very like recent phenomenon. I'm not gonna say like I'm as like well versed in like the kind of maybe scandals with like deeper scandals with like Princess Kate and William. Like, I just feel like I kind of like know what everyone else knows. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, me too, for sure. I'm the same. I'm like, colonialism is awful. Like, Canada should leave the Commonwealth, like all, but then I'm like, but the pretty dresses, like.
It's so weird. It's like, if anyone's a victim in all of this, it's us, because we are torn between our like entertainment, our need for entertainment and our need for morality. And like, really, it's society's fault.
literally. But yeah, you're right. Like, I used to really follow Prince Will and Kate, like maybe 10 years ago, but have since like, I dislike them, and Harry and Meghan have become like the two stars of the family for me.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's been so interesting watching, you know, the last 6 years, which is what this was covering. So I was really excited. And because I just watched My Mind and Me, the Selena Gomez documentary, I was primed to be like, I know what I want in a celebrity documentary, like tell all. And I don't think I got it with Selena, and I don't think I got it with Harry and Meghan either.
There really was no major bombshells in these first 3 episodes. Like I feel like some of the things that happened, you know, like she reveals like stuff that happened like with her father and like her half sister, and it's like, yeah, like we all, like I expected that to happen, like, and then also like I expected them to be, you know, racist and have the media hounding her and like just doing all of the, because like we've seen like movies and we kind of know that narrative. So like I have a feeling the next 3 episodes, like that's when we're gonna find out that William definitely is racist and like everyone's terrible. I hope so. I don't hope at all. Don't be racist.
Yeah, but like maybe an expose.
Yes,
but like,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think that too, because one thing that I'm really surprised about is how Harry and Will have not been able to mend their relationship.
Yes.
And it seems like that stands till this day.
Yeah, because their relationship right now, I think, is such a mystery. And like here we have Meghan Markle very, you know, talking about her relationship with her half sister, which is not having one at all. And now and Harry is like very, very like didn't say anything. Like I don't think he mentioned William like once. You know what I mean? And so I think, I mean, I'm gonna be so disappointed if it is just kind of like the same, like what we already know, but with like, you know, them saying it, you know, and that'll be disappointing. Yeah.
Do you watch the Kardashians?
I have, but not like religiously or anything.
Yeah, this is really reminding me of the Kardashians right now and their new show on Hulu, where it's like these events have happened and have played out on social media, and we have seen them. We've read the articles, we've watched the videos, we've done the research, we know the side characters, all of that. So then even though we're watching technically some new footage or like the people's perspectives that like the main character's perspectives, it still kind of feels like for me, it's like, yeah, I've like really already seen this.
Yes. Yeah. And like, you know, we just had like the January 6th hearings and like, you know, like someone retelling like what Donald Trump did. Like he tried to like, you know, take the wheel from the driver and he threw a plate. And like that was more like scandalous than this. And it's like, I wanted this to be like, I wanted throne plates. You know, like, and I was like, I can't believe the hearings were like way more salacious and interesting than like the royals, you know, which is like, everyone finds salacious and interesting.
Totally. Since the beginning of time, that's like how they've like functioned, royal families. So it's so interesting. To me, Harry looked like pretty upset, which like I think like sometimes I've been thinking like that's so fair, because we are like, again, like talking about like his biggest kind of traumatic moments as like a child with the death of his mom and like how he was raised and stuff like that. But she looks way more happy and relaxed and free, and he really looks miserable.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess like he like it's a little like what I would love as a romance reader was for this to be like, I wish their lives could be a romantic comedy. It's not at all. But like, you know, if like, you know, in like the movies where it's like a Christmas Prince, or that movie with like Julia Stiles where it's like the prince is going to school and he's figuring out like how a book bag works and stuff. And I'm like, maybe like that, like that's what I want to see Prince Harry do. And it's like, hopefully it's like that, where he's just like, oh, I have to mow my own lawn, or maybe he doesn't, but you know, or like feed my own chickens. And it's like, oh, I make, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's why he's miserable, is that he has to like do all these domestic chores, and not necessarily because he like misses
That's so
royalty.
funny.
Fingers crossed.
That's so funny. But yeah, that's true. That's really what I was hoping for their life to be. And then to figure out it's not like that is like,
Yeah.
really
Did you
sad.
read that interview? I forget what magazine it was, but it was with Robert Pattinson, and he like didn't know how to use his own microwave, and like he like like
No.
oh my god, it was like, this came out like I think when the pandemic first started, and it was like you know, they're doing like an interview with Robert Pattinson, and like he has no idea what he's doing. In the middle of the interview, he like, you know, is like, oh, I'm gonna make a snack, and he like puts a snack that's wrapped in tinfoil in their microwave and turns on the microwave, and like an explosion, and it was so funny. And I'm like, that's what I would expect from like Prince Harry.
Harry, totally. 100%. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And like, I kind of do want to see that like levity and stuff. I guess maybe that's just not the reality. So that's like fair. But yeah, that's like what I'm like always wishing for, I guess. A lot of people online are annoyed at Meghan's use of the nickname H. What are your feelings on H as a nickname?
It's interesting because I do know that like in Gossip Girl, like they would call each other like B and what's her name?
S.
Yeah, S, B and S. And it's like, oh, that's cute. And it's like, I, you know, had a few friends at the time, and we'd be like, hey B, what's up C? You know. But the letter H is like such a weird,
yes,
because his name isn't like H Harry, you know. It's such a, it's like, yeah, it's very weird, but like
totally,
yeah. But she calls him Has it sometimes, and then I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's cute. Apparently, that's a real like British nickname for people named Harry. But yeah, I feel like for you and I with B and T, it's cute. But yeah, and like even M, I think is cute. But like the H sound, you're totally right. It just like doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Because it doesn't start with like if it's like, hey, you know what I mean? Like that's why like B and C and T work, you know, because like Becky, you know, and even like the letter F. Like I would never call someone, hey, what's up, F? Like
yeah, that's so weird.
Unless their name was Effie, but I don't know any Effies right now.
Yeah,
so.
that's so true. Yeah. Another thing that was revealed was that Harry has a Finsta. Do you think people are like trying to find the Finsta? Like, should we be trying to find the Finsta?
I tried, 5 minutes before, couldn't get to it.
Oh my God.
Obviously, because very surface level a search here.
That's so funny.
But yeah, like his pictures like were odd, like what they show. I'm like, they are oddly good, like he's an oddly good photographer. And it's like, does he have, this is with his phone? Like, I don't know. I felt like the quality of pictures, I was like, there is no way he's he can capture the light that well. Really? Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They were like all of sunsets. And I was like, I know how sunset photos work from your phone. They never turn out well. So
yeah. And like, and maybe he's like into filters, which hilarious. It's just like so weird to me how like they talk about like, first getting together and like doing their research on each other, and like how like normal people, they went on Instagram to look up each other on Instagram. And that to me, I found completely really? Like, I know. You know what I mean? I don't know. There was something about it that I just was like, you did? Like, it was Instagram? Like, that means like I could find a prince to marry.
Yeah, that was like so wild. And I still like am never over the story about how they first met, where it was like he was 30 minutes late and she like, okay, this is why obviously she married the prince and I didn't. But it's like she was like, this is annoying. And like, I was like, I would have waited forever.
Yeah.
It's so funny, but yeah, I do love that retelling, even even though, again, it's something we've heard before.
Right. Yeah.
I want to share this tweet from @bbabs, which I thought was like really interesting of just how the royal family like fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
So she tweeted, knowing how Meg was before she even met Harry is wild because she was already a philanthropist, extremely smart, very personal, was a benevolent activist, wasn't too radical, but showed that she cared about the world, and on paper would have been a perfect princess, LOL. Full disclaimer that this isn't my politics. Also, the fact that she has black and white heritage could have been used to their advantage if they leaned into it. For people who think representation is progress in any form and that interracial rels, which I think is short for relationships, is the cure to racism, LOL. Catnip, exclamation point. I'll add in the punctuation too.
Yeah.
They fully missed the chance to modernize the conception of the monarchy for people who care about that stuff, LOL, because between the royalists and the Republicans, there is a space of ambivalence. People who don't mind the monarchy as long as they are benign and not actively offensive. As for me, I think the whole thing is offensive, but my inner Olivia Pope is like, they really fucked it, LOL. What do you think about that take?
I mean, I think that she is spot on. You know, again, like I feel like I can only speak from my background. You know, I'm from the United States. I'm white, and you know, like I have an experience that, like, you know, I like, you know, I'm only coming in from like my own like life experiences, but like, yeah, you know, I think like the entirety of The Crown, you know, the issue of that show is like, how do we modernize? How do we modernize? How do we modernize? And it's like, yeah, they were like presented with a way to kind of modernize, which is like kind of weird because then it's kind of like, well, you're using Meghan as like this token to be like, look, guys, the monarchy is woke now. You know what I mean? Like it's very weird. And I just think that like they were so scared, you know, like they just seemed like they were just like so fearful, and just that fear, you know how like fear makes things worse, where you know, I like noticed, like, I don't know if this is the exact equivalent, but like lately, like a lot of men are afraid to hire women because of like Me Too, and they're afraid to say the wrong thing, so then they just like avoid women altogether, you know, and then these women are like still, you know, missing out on opportunities, and it feels like the same thing where it was just like they didn't want to do anything wrong, so they were like, let's just be quiet, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and when you say they were scared, do you think they were scared of Harry and Meghan's like popularity?
I think they were scared of looking racist, and henceforth they looked racist. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah,
That's kind of what I got a sense, you know,
right.
Like I think like just like their inability to like call out the media, like it was really disgusting, like some of those headlines I found, and like the fact that wouldn't have been called out right away by someone who is like a friend of a family, you know, like I found it pretty appalling.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I'm on the same page, because I was also thinking about like how they seemed so jealous of Diana and her popularity. And I really feel like Meghan had that kind of like same aura I still think she does, but like in the beginning when they were doing all of like the press events, and I thought like, I don't know, they just seemed like they were taking she was taking, and then them as a couple were taking some of the spotlight off of them.
Yeah. And like the thing is with like Meghan and Diana, like only so many people in this world are royalty. Everyone else is a big nobody. And when you have two nobodies marrying in, the people are going to relate to the nobodies. They're not going to relate to the people who grew up inside the palace, you know? And it's like, you would think that would like, that would like make sense to them. Like, yeah, of course, like, you know, someone who isn't brand new and like has a similar, like has like, you know, a less privileged, I guess, like background, you know, like coming in, like people are going to relate to the everyday person, not necessarily like, you know, a person who like literally owns a crown and that's like part of their outfit.
Yeah. That's such a good point. That's a really good point. Are you looking forward for part 2 coming out later this week?
I am, because I'm hoping that we could finally get like the bombshells that I think I wanted in these first 3 episodes. Yeah. But at the same time, like I kind of don't want to get my hopes up either. You know, like I don't want to be disappointed. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm so sick of watching stuff lately and just being disappointed.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know what it is. I mean, like, just, it's been so, maybe it's like kind of a winter thing, like, you know, like a winter malaise where it's all like everything's underwhelming these days.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
And it's like this felt very underwhelming.
Yeah, 100%. But it is like a slow burn. I like a romance novel.
Sure is.
But
yeah.
I definitely think like this part 1 set us up for a lot of things in part 2. So I'm looking forward to that if they give us that.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I want to say about this, and then we can like move on if there's nothing else you want to add, but it is interesting also how the British media has responded to part 1 of this documentary. It's basically the same shit that they were doing pre-documentary.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking, because I'm like, I want to give you both the platform and opportunity to share your side of the story, etc. But then I'm at the same time, I'm like, but okay, this is like also kind of just fanning the flames because they learned nothing. They're just doing the exact same shit, which is not Meghan and Harry's fault, but like, I don't think, at least so far, this has like changed anyone's mind that was like a hater of them.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like I think it's almost like being in a relationship a little bit where it's like you can't change someone's behavior. Like you can be as vulnerable and do whatever you want, you know, to express yourself and share your truth. But like the media in this, like from what I can glean is like it's like a pattern of behavior with them. Like no matter what these two say, they already have the headlines written. They just need to find the picture to go with it. And it's just like these two can like do what, like say whatever, do whatever. But I just think that like these tabloids are so set in their ways. They've been doing it for years. It's like, you know, getting like, you know, it's kind of like connecting with like someone on the other side of the political, like who's in your family, you know, and it's like maybe, who knows, but like I just like don't think that like anyone from these tabloids are gonna be like, we're sorry, we were right, you know, like I just don't see that happening.
Do you think I agree, which is like so disheartening when you like really think about it, but do you think that was their purpose for this documentary?
I don't know, like I it's interesting because it is like, I think that's a criticism that I have is like, what is your purpose behind this? Like, are you trying to like launch Archwell Productions or whatever? You know, like, is this a career thing? Like, or is this like, how personal is this? Like, there's something awkward about like, if this is like a personal thing against your family and it's like, we're here to like watch your family turmoil, like, I don't know, there's something like very weird about it. But if it is like, hey, like, you know, like there's a lot of misinformation about us, it is important for us to share our story, then I get it. But it's just hard to, sometimes there'll be moments where you're like, okay, well, what is your motive here? You know, and I don't know if I'm being a piece of shit by questioning it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like I would, you know, like if they really did go through turmoil and I'm like, are you just doing this to get back? You know, like,
no,
I know.
No, I feel the same way because I'm like, I think part of me is just like, just live your life because this seemingly didn't work. But then I was like, well, maybe that wasn't their purpose. And like, I guess also like when you are like judged or whatever on such a mass scale, you probably want to share your side of the story regardless of the way that it gets picked up, just even for like, I feel like historic like document, like
yes, absolutely, just like sharing, like, you know, like and the thing is that like Prince Charles did the same thing after Diana, you know, like he had a documentary crew like during their divorce, like come into his house and like show him like playing with his plants or whatever. I don't remember, but like, you know, like all of the royals do that. Like it's not like this uncommon practice of them to give like an expose. I think they're just like, whoa, it's Netflix. It's like it's Netflix. It's on a streaming platform, if you can believe it. I don't know if you know this, Brit like royals, but there's a thing called streaming, and there are shows that you can now stream on something called platforms, and that's what they did. Like, I don't know if you have a Netflix subscription, if Kensington Palace has a Netflix subscription, but...
Well, I don't know, like, if you're right, Kensington Palace does, but it was interesting in an interview with Meghan. Before this documentary came out, she was talking about how she watches Netflix with Haz at night after she's done her Wordle. And I was thinking, how fucking weird is that, where you would have Netflix just like us and you would like scroll and see The Crown?
Yes. I think they watched some of The Crown. Like, they mentioned, I know that like when Prince Harry was on the James Corden show, he asked him, like, have you seen The Crown?
Yeah.
And he was like, I've seen a few episodes. And he was like, well, does that make you like upset? And he's like, Harry was like, well, it's the media like telling these lies about us that's like more upsetting than seeing like a fictitious portrayal of my family.
Right.
Granted, it was during a season when like I don't think his character was even born yet.
No.
So who knows like how, I'm sure it's probably different now.
Yeah,
but like,
because he's like
yeah.
just now in this season.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, I think I'm going to watch this immediately, on Wednesday. But
yes, taking the day off work. I'm calling in Harry and Meghan. Sorry, folks, can't come in.
I will say like 3 hours, so 6 hours total for a docuseries is a long fucking time. That's all I'll say.
Agreed. And it's like, and it's like, if you're gonna do 6 hours, we need bombshells. So hopefully these next 3 hours will be 6 hours worth of bombshells.
Yes, I completely agree. Okay, Katie Holmes
yes,
made a splash on the red carpet. She was at the New York City Jingle Ball, and she was wearing a blue mini dress over a flared pair of jeans.
Yeah, frayed at the end.
Frayed at the end with a pair of like almost like brown sneakers, and the entire world, like, this was the bombshell that Meghan and Harry needed, because the world was in an uproar.
It really was. Like, they and the thing is that I'm in an uproar about it. You know, I'm like, I feel like the outfit, I was staring at this picture for so long.
Me too.
And I was like, the outfit could the outfit have worked if she had a different pair of shoes? Like, if she wasn't wearing sneakers, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. But like, I used to be, as a former dress with pant dresser.
Yes.
You know, and getting called out for it.
Yeah.
It was almost like, it was so cringeworthy, and I thought of like myself, and I'm like, oh, when like I don't know, it's just like, it was so weird, but it just like looked like she forgot to put on her shoes, and she was like wearing her like sneakers to like go and take the dog outside or something. And then like was like, went to the red carpet, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot to put my stilettos on.
Yeah, I know. I agree that if she wore stilettos, we would have maybe seen it in like the, you know, fashion roundup, but there wouldn't have been like fucking think pieces about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I ever did wear like a full dress. I definitely wore like full dresses with leggings, like black leggings, cotton leggings, but I don't think I ever wore like a flared pair of jeans and mini dress, just because it's like, that is so much fabric.
It's a lot of fabric. And I will say, you know, in my, like, when I was, you know, I guess like middle school to like college era, you know, like we were still with the bell bottoms and kind of like flower power hippie look. And so like, it was kind of stylish to like just wear a lot of layers, I think, you know. And at one point, like, you know, it was like, oh, the dress, there are these shirts that were like tunics, you know, and like tunics were very popular. And also like wearing a dress with jeans, like at one point was like very popular.
Yeah,
and then it got to the point where it's like, yeah, you're wearing two outfits. Like, that's so many clothes. Like, that's like I think everyone, including myself, had this realization of like, this is too much. This is too much.
Yeah, 100%. And now everyone's like doing roundups of like, you know, Ashley Tisdale and like all the girlies who are wearing this look and with their sneakers, with their flared jeans. And I don't know, like, do you think people have been saying 2000s aesthetics have been back for, like, it's all coming back. The fashion, what's in style is a cycle and, like, all of this stuff. But, like, isn't it usually just the good stuff that comes back? Like, this was, like, objectively bad.
Agreed. Yeah. Like, I feel like, you know, I was actually like literally having this discussion with my friends yesterday at brunch, and we were talking about how like clothes that we like just so desired to wear are now coming back, but they're now different because they're done cheaply, you know, like I feel like the quality, or like they were saying that the quality wasn't as good, you know, and like that we should have like hung on to whatever. But it's kind of like the most outrageous outfits from that era that only Gwen Stefani could wear are coming back. Like, it's not like, you know, clothes that like I wore.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah.
And but that was like pretty egregious. It felt like she was making a statement. Like, you know, I don't know. Like it's wild. It's very wild.
It is, especially because like when I first looked at that picture, I swear to God, I thought like, oh, this is a throwback picture.
Yeah, me too.
It was so wild. Like it really was a mind fuck to be like, oh no, this is like was taken this week.
Yeah. I mean, it is, what's funny about it is that like, you know, Katie Holmes got very popular when I was in high school because that's when like Dawson's Creek came out, and that was like the heyday of all of that style. And so there was like my like 13-year-old self was like, oh, it's Katie Holmes again. It's Katie back to her roots. And then I'm like, wait a minute, what year is it? Like, who am I? Like, hang on a second, that looks terrible.
Yes. Honestly, yeah. But she like, you're right. The outfit was still tragic, but like she looked good personally.
Oh, I think she's beautiful. Yeah. I find her very, very pretty.
Yeah, so do I. Her last viral outfit was the cashmere bra and cardigan set. Do you remember when this happened in 2019?
I do. Yes. And I thought it was very sexy. Like, I thought, what an outfit. Like, I'm always like impressed with like people who are like, I'm going to wear a corset and show so much skin and not give a shit. I love it. I love that stuff.
Yeah, me too. She looked so good. It's just so funny how like I felt like when she wore the cashmere corset or like bra thing, she was like starting a fashion trend, and now the second time that like she really blows up for an outfit, everyone's like, no. Like,
no, yeah, it's like, oh, maybe it's like only like, you know how like it's like your first time, maybe it was the stroke of luck, and maybe really this whole time we're not very fashionable.
Exactly, like, oh no, that was a fluke. Like you actually have a like, terrible sense of taste. Like,
I mean, like, could you imagine? She's like, okay, guys, I scored a hit with the corset and the cashmere. I know what I'm gonna do. Dress with jeans. And everyone around her was like, good idea. Even though in the back of their mind they're like, ugh.
They're like, add the sneakers. Like,
yeah. She's like, don't worry. Trust me, everyone. Just trust me on this.
Yeah. So
like,
funny.
How do you say no?
So funny. But like, I will say, because like I don't think it's too much fabric, so I don't feel like that aspect is comfortable. But I do love that in recent years, a lot more like comfort clothes have come in style. Maybe not for red carpets like she was at, but like, yeah, sneakers and like looser and, like, fitting
sweatshirts.
Pants. Yes.
Yeah. Like it really is like I feel like there's a level of like cyclical nature in terms of that fashion. Like, but it's still very, I don't know, it just like still feels very different. Like, what was it, Visco Girl look or something?
Yes.
Like that was like such a look, and it like took stuff from like the 90s of like the big sweatshirts and like the backpacks and stuff, but like it still was very much a product of like, what was it, 2015 or something, you know? Like it was the same but like different, and the attitude was different. Like it wasn't like, hey, like we're in the 90s and like, you know, we only can ride our bikes and we don't have cars yet. It's like, hey everyone, like now it's like, hey, we are so fucking cool. We're going to dress like you losers. And we're still very scared of you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, and it's like almost intimidating. Like if I saw a young woman wearing some of the outfits that I wore in the 90s, I would be so scared of her and she would be owning it. And I would be just like, I would be like, you're too cool. I got to hide under my bed.
Literally. No, I feel that. Yeah. It's like almost like a power move.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. It's a power move.
Yeah.
Like, because like I think there's like this generation, like they have so much access to just like all of this media and images, and just like really very easily can like see what like we wore 10, 20 years ago. And so it's like, well, when they have easy access to it and then are using it, it's just like we old people gotta be just like, nope, okay, do your thing.
100%. 100%. Do you think we will see more copycats of this look, or do you think this was like a one and done, never to be heard from again?
I think we've got a never to be heard from again. Yeah. I just think it just didn't. I think like maybe with a different shoe. Honestly, it was the shoes that kind of like wrecked it for me.
Same.
But I have a feeling it's like one of those things, unless she were like making fun of herself at like next year's Jingle Ball or whatever. I think maybe like 50 years from now, you know what I mean? Like, and like the people who are still alive are like, I love that throwback. What a good Easter egg to 2022.
Yeah, we're like, I remember when we used to wear that look. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we go to our grandparents and now that's smart. See, that's smart. There was this thing. And
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Shut up, Grandma.
Yeah. That's so funny. Okay, let's talk about The Price of Glee. Were you a big Gleek growing up?
Well, Glee came out when I was like in my early 20s. Like I kind of I think I was either in college or had graduated college, or like just graduated college. And so I watched it, and I also like really loved like musical theater, and like I love all that stuff. So I did watch it, but then I did kind of like fall off of it a little bit, just like the last few seasons, because it was just like kind of like I just was like not as invested anymore. Like I just like fell off of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was probably like 16 when it came out. Like I remember it was like when I was like late into high school, early college days.
Okay. Yeah.
And like you said, I fell off like season, like I think there's 6 seasons. I don't think I watched 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah, like I think I might have fell off like around 4, and maybe watched a few episodes of 5, and then just like fell off it again. Like I couldn't finish it.
Yeah, there was one point where I was like literally forcing myself to watch it because I had like never watched a TV show for that long and not finished it, and I was like, oh my god, this feels so like wasteful to like drop off at this point. And then after you're like committed to,
you invested your time. You know? And
me with Grey's Anatomy, like I watched up to like season 17, and now I'm like, I just can't do it. Like I just can't. Like this is miserable. Like
and it's like, why are we doing to this? Or like I feel like now with like it's just like, why wouldn't you watch a series to the end? There's all this pressure to watch all of the seasons because everything is out. You watch it all at once. Yeah. It's like a whole event. And like, it's like you almost feel guilty when you're just like, I am really not interested. Like I haven't watched the latest season of The Handmaid's Tale. And like, I'm just like, am I a bad feminist? Do I not like prestige TV? Like what is wrong with me? And then it's just like, oh shit, I just like don't feel like watching it.
That's so fair. And I just feel like there's also so many options and things come out so frequently that it's like, if you're not in the mood, it just like falls off of your like list.
Yeah. Because it's like, I feel like now, like it's like there's so many options, and we want to watch for our mood, not necessarily like for, like who's starring in what, or like what's on, or like, what the popular thing is. It's just like kind of like, like we're choosing TV shows like, not like we're dictating our own like what we want to watch now, because there's so many channels, there's all this stuff. Like it's not like NBC being like, well, tonight's Friends and Seinfeld and blah blah. Like
these are your 2 options.
Exactly. There's more options. That's it.
Totally. But I feel like just the phenomenon of Glee is the fascinating part.
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't realize it was such a huge like teenage phenomenon. I don't know why I didn't realize that, but not until I watched that the docuseries, but also the adaptation of it, of the girl from Plainville or something, where it was the girl who made the news because she was with this toxic boyfriend who was texting her, and she is accused of convincing him to kill himself. And she was like obsessed with Glee. And like, wild. I was like, oh, right. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. That is interesting. But it was such a big deal. And so when I think Discovery said that they were putting out a docuseries on it, everyone was like, oh my God, this is like going to be so interesting. So we now have a title. It's The Price of Glee. We have a trailer. But I think what I was really shocked about is like, I thought it was going to be about the making of the TV show. And it looks like it's specifically about the 3 actors who passed away, who are Corey Monteith, Naya Rivera, and Mark Saline. Saline? I think it's Saline.
Yeah.
And they all passed away, but it's so weird because it's like, well, it does kind of seem like they're grouping the 3 of them together when I was like, A, it was like very distinct tragedies, and B, like Corey and Naya were like normal people. Mark was like a pedophile. So like we maybe shouldn't group them all together.
Yeah. I think like we have this like kind of people who are into pop culture have this need to just like make a narrative about everything. Like, so I'm very much into Superman. My brother and I like loved like the Christopher Reeve Superman growing up, and the cast of those movies like had a lot of tragedy and like other like, you know, actors in the Superman world, like what's her face, Nexium girl.
Allison Mack.
Yeah. And so there was like a thing of like, well, is there a Superman curse? Is there this curse? And it's like, we're always like searching for like some like larger narrative when just like just these like very coincidental like tragedies like happen to a group of people who at some point in their careers were part of the same community. And so like, I think it's just like this like almost like natural need to do that. But like when it comes at the price of like, you know, real tragedies, like it's sad. Like it's very like sad. Like, I mean, the Nexium stuff, not that like I don't know, like the woman who played Lois Lane like had bipolar disorder and that's like very sad, and Christopher Reeve, you know, had this tragic accident. It's like all so sad, but we're like, it's a curse. There's like a demon out there who's saying I'm gonna it's like whoa, wait a minute.
yeah, that's so true. And like I feel like also people that aren't in like the TV industry or whatever are like, this was so important to me, where it's like a lot of people are like, yeah, it's important to me, but it like was a job that I had for like 5 years and then moved on. It's like, I'm not talking about like my office's curse. Like if, yeah,
it's like they're all like, they all still like live together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I used to think that like the cast of, when I was a kid, a cast of Full House all lived in a house together, you know? And it's like this like kind of like still like kid like childlike thinking of like just adding in like magic, which is understandable to these things that we love that are like, you know, dictating our lives and what we like and things like that.
Yeah.
Thing is that like I'm okay with like the Seinfeld curse of the cast of Seinfeld like not being able to like get leading roles on series anymore, because it's like very benign, it's Hollywood, whatever, no one's dying, no one's getting hurt, no one's being trafficked, all that stuff. But like when it gets to like kind of like very like serious tragedies like that, and I don't know, it feels exploitative to me.
That's what a lot of people were saying, that it seemed exploitative specifically about Corey and Naya. And Jenna Ushkowitz, who played Tina, has like denounced the documentary. She was like, I have nothing to do with it, none of the other cast members does, or Ryan Murphy, who's the creator. So I don't know, I probably still will like check it out just to see, you know, what the buzz is about and how they're positioning this. And again, because Glee was a part of my life, but you know, I'm gonna take it all with a grain of sand or a grain of salt.
Yeah, grain of whatever you use, whatever grain you want.
Literally.
Any grain you want.
You can tell it's 8:30 for both of us. But
yeah, it's 8:30 for both of us. You know, like, I feel like the Price of Glee is, you know how, like, there's, like, some things where you're like for me, when the Harry and Meghan thing came out, I'm like, Harry and Meghan, watching it right away. But with this one, I feel like I kind of want to see the reactions on, like, Twitter or social media first to see if it's worth it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Like, I know, like, the Harry and Meghan thing I was watching regardless of the internet discourse, but you're right, this one is like maybe something that like I would have to, you know, not watch on the first day and just see what Twitter has to say. That's a good point.
Yeah, like you just like take the temperature of the world before you kind of like are like, okay, I'm gonna invest this amount of time.
100%, especially if it's even like a fucking 6-hour docu-series again.
Exactly. Even though easily you could just change, you can just put something else on. We easily, like, we have the power to be like, oh, this is not doing anything for us, let's put on the White Lotus. Then you're like angrily watching it till the end.
Literally. I don't know what that is, but
it's who we are. I know. We're just too committed. We're too committed.
I know. But yeah, I do that all the fucking time. Okay, let's move on to Pettyweight Champion of the Week. This is the part of the show where Becky's going to nominate a Pettyweight Champion of the Week, someone in the media who did something petty and it was iconic. Becky, who are you nominating this week?
My nominee for Pettyweight Champion of the Week is Kathy Hilton, who during the acceptance speech of Mariska Hargitay of the People's Choice Award, she was in shot, like in behind her during, like was in the shot and applied lipstick. But she was like, it wasn't just any acceptance speech. It was like this, like it was political. It was feminist.
I know. That was the funniest part, is it wasn't just like, thanks family, thanks production team, like this was like a dream of mine and like moving on. It was like, at the People's Choice Awards. And I feel like also with that award ceremony, you don't get a lot of like political, personal, empowering speeches. It usually is just kind of the thanks to the fans, thanks, like blah, 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 and move on. And it's so funny watching her apply a full lip just off the center of the stage.
I mean, it is like, it's couldn't be more Housewives in a way, you know, because like I think that's like kind of like one of my favorite episodes of Real Housewives of New York was when like Dorinda and Ramona were like fighting during this like charity event for like helping kids who were like, you know, like abused or something, and like they're like getting in like the most petty fight in front of this beautiful charity, and it's just like this juxtaposition of like class and wealth and materialism versus like you know, humanity and stuff like that. But it was just weird because I don't think Kathy Hilton knew that she was in the shot. So I have a feeling, and I like watched this video of her, I think it was like today or yesterday, where they're like, do you want to address this? And she was like, here's what happened. She was like, I was standing there and I had to sneeze. And she was like, I have a really loud sneeze. It's very embarrassing. And then she's like, so I opened my purse to see if I had a tissue, but I didn't have a tissue. So I got nervous and I pulled out my lipstick and reapplied my lipstick. And I'm still trying to figure out the logic.
That is so funny. Also, like, I didn't know when people accepted awards that they even brought their like clutches with them.
But yeah, I know. Oh, well, I don't think they did. She was a nominee. Yeah. Or not a nominee, a presenter.
A presenter. Yeah. But why did she even have her clutch? But that's so funny. What I was thinking is like oftentimes after award shows, they go into like immediate like press circuits. So I was like, okay, maybe she just like wanted to reapply before she was like bombarded with cameras. But I'm like, still, we've never seen this.
It is so wild. And like, I think what's so fascinating about it is that it is Kathy Hilton of all people, who is just this like the whole like Richards family I find to be fascinating. And like, she is such a like hard nut to crack of just like what is going on in there. Like, I want to know what she's thinking and like what is bothering her and all this stuff and like why she does what she does.
I know.
And this just like added to like the enigma that is
Kathy Hilton. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Okay, finally, it's time for This Week in Petty, where Becky is going to share a story about something that happened to her in her real life that she is petty about. What are you petty about this week?
Okay, so I don't know how much I can say. I hope I don't get sued is my first thing. But I had to recently end a working relationship with someone, and we knew it was going to happen. Like, it was, kind of, whatever. It was very like amicable and whatever. And so, I gave my like departure email, and the person emailed me back very cordially, so polite, exactly the response that you would want from someone when you have to like do something awkward like this. And I got so mad because I was like, you didn't want to take 5 minutes of your time to call me up and call me a piece of shit. I fucking hate you.
Yes.
I am so mad that you did exactly what I wanted you to do the most ideal way. I can't believe you would do that.
That is so funny. Yeah, you're almost like, okay, I wasn't worth getting mad over.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
That's so funny. I would do the exact same. Because, like, yeah, there's a part of you that's like, yeah, I just want the email and then I'll just move on. But then there's the, also the part of you that it's like, I want a bit more theatrics.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I wanted, like, it was so underwhelming, yet it's like, couldn't have been more ideal and couldn't have been more amicable. And I couldn't have been more disappointed.
That's so funny. I know. But then the best part, and this is, again, why we're hypocrites, is because if they would have like called and reamed you out or left a nasty email, you would have been like, and know what? They're not mature enough to write a cordial email to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I would be mad either way. Like, there's no, like, I'm sorry to that person, but there's no winning in this like type of situation where like, for me, it's out of insecurity and like, wanting everyone to like me and all that stuff. And so like, there's just no winning.
That's like, so funny.
I would have been disappointed either way.
That's so funny. Yeah, I totally get that. You're like, actually, you were supposed to be like heartbroken. Like,
yeah. And the thing is that like, it's kind of hard to have confrontations like that because it is a bit like, a breakup or like getting very like, it's a hard conversation to have. And it's like, yes, as a human being, you would want that to be as easy as possible because you are so nervous. And it was the easiest it could have been. And I was so mad.
That's so funny. I know. It's like leaving a job or something like that. And you're like, why are people not like throwing themselves down at my feet?
Yes, exactly.
Begging me to not go. Like,
yeah. Like, what do you, I don't know, you don't think about me all the time? Like, I don't understand this.
Yeah. I feel like that's very main character energy. And I feel like I exude that a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's like we're all so like in our head and like, at least for me, like worrying about what other people think and just with all of like kind of the pressures I put on myself, I think everyone else is putting that pressure on me too when it is just me. And then when you realize like you really are just like a speck in someone else's like, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. But to like the reality check of it, you're like, oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I get that. That's an excellent This Week in Petty. But yeah, I agree. The person can't win. We're mad either way.
I was going to, like, there was no way I wasn't going to be mad. And sorry. You did everything right.
Yeah.
Like, you did everything right. And it's me.
Amazing. Okay, this was such a fun episode.
Oh, so fun.
Where can you find your podcast and anything else that you want to plug?
Sure. So my podcast is called Too Stupid to Live. It's wherever you get your podcasts, tstlpodcast.com. And, on the social medias, it is at TSTL Podcast. I am not on TikTok. I'm so sorry. I have no presence on TikTok. I'm a watcher. I'm a TikTok watcher,
Same.
not a TikToker.
Same.
Oh my God, I'm so glad because like I was like, am I the most uncool person in the world?
Oh no,
I'm
the most uncool. Like I'm literally gonna get my younger sister over the holidays to fucking teach me how to like edit a TikTok video.
Oh my God, I might need to like ask you to relay that information after the holidays.
like actually, one of my other podcast friends, Christy from X Knows All, this is so like corporate of us because I guess we're corporate girlies, but she was like, we were recording 2 weeks ago and then we're like, we need to get on TikTok, and she's like, okay, I'll Google an article about like how to edit a video if you can like YouTube how to like do the green screen. We're so fucking archaic.
Yes. Yeah. And it's almost like I'm very impressed with these people who do like a million a day, because like I can't even. Yeah, I'm so impressed with it. And yeah.
Same. Yeah. But yeah, everyone go check out Becky's podcast. It's super, super funny, and it's for cheap books. And I feel like the Petty Betties love a good deal.
Oh, I'm sure you do. And you were so fun on the podcast, so I highly recommend listening to that episode because I had a blast. Yeah.
Thank you. And it had a comic book tie-in for you. I didn't know you were. I don't think we talked about that too much. So that's super cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thank you.
And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Becky for joining me on today's episode. Hopefully the lisp didn't turn you off too much. But if you are loving the show, there are a few things you can do, especially if you're in the holiday spirit. You can leave the podcast a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can follow me on socials at RTBP Podcast. You can buy merch. The links are in the episode show description and in my social media bios and or you can join us on patreon.com/RTBP podcast. I'm still planning to release episodes all throughout the holidays. There might be 1 week that I do a episode that I recorded on someone else's podcast or a re-release or something like that. But I think I'm gonna just like fucking bang him out this holiday season. So I hope you'll join me. Okay, folks, I hope you are safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Tori, and I am ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.